Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Take Time by Liberbird. Take Time is a 2 to 4 player cooperative game of trying to get in sync. The basic premise of the game is you're going to be going through levels. We have these envelopes here. There's 12 different envelopes over here giving you a whole lot of levels to the game, and then each envelope is going to have multiple levels within it. For example, I have envelope 1 right now, and there's 4 different levels just in the first envelope. I will only be showing you the first envelope. There's a whole lot of things I might loosely talk about some things to come, but we'll be going through the first envelope to show you how this game works. Just want to preserve the surprise for you. Let's go ahead and set up for a 3-player game. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm doing 3 players because there is a rule modification for 2 players. It's fine, 2 players is fine, but we'll talk more about that in thoughts, I guess. We're going to deal out 4 cards to each of those players. If you're playing a 4-player game, you'd have 3 cards, and in a 2-player game, you're going to have 6 cards per player, but in 2 separate stacks to pace it out and to make less obvious information. But the goal of the game, and this we're on our very first level, we're level 1, envelope 1, and we're going to have to try to play our cards to these 6 segments around the clock, and we'll have to do so in ascending order. So for example, we have to place a single white card here, because it tells us to, and this card, let's say we place a 2 over here, this next segment must be a 2 or greater. And if let's say we place a 4 over here, the next segment must be a 4 or greater. But you have to actually place all 12 cards, which means you're placing multiple cards per segment. In fact, this final segment requires 3 cards of either of the colors, but 3 cards must go here, a single white card must go here, and you have to go in ascending order when you do the sum of the cards. So for example, 2 cards over here, as long as they add up to more than this and less than this, you haven't yet broken anything. There's a few other rules, and there will be additional rules added based on symbols in the chapters, but the main other rule is that no segment can go above 24 total. That prevents you from just throwing all your cards towards the end and not worrying about it. You can't go above 24 in a segment. That is not true for the first 3 levels of envelope 1. This infinity symbol says you actually can go higher, opening up the door a little bit to playing a bit more, to learning the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at my hand over here, and I have a 10, 10, and 11. Oh my gosh, 10, 11, 11, 11, 10, 1. So I guess I'll start by placing my 1 over here. I'm placing it face down, keep that in mind. No one knows what that card is. Although I will say, in a 3-player game, you can play 3 of your cards face up. But we're not going to do that yet because we feel that a 1 over there as I first play is a very confident move. The next player, not knowing what I did, takes a look at their hand. They have a 12, 10, 7, and 1. They're going to go ahead and put a 12 over here very confidently because, again, we could go above 24 this time. So if we had 12, 11, I don't think I told you this. There's 2 different colors of cards. Each set of cards is 1 through 12. So there's 1 black 12 and 1 white 12. He had a black 12. It doesn't matter if we place a 12, 12, 11 over here. We are allowed to go over 24 for this particular level. Then the next player goes. Again, they don't. I'm kind of cheating here because I know what's going on with all the players. But we have a 12. A 12, that seems confident over here. We'd confidently put those down over there without having to pause or think. Now back to my original hand, I know that I have 11, 11, and 10, but the thing I also know is both those players confidently put their numbers out. I have both 11s, I have a 10. At most, these can either be 12s or one of them could be a 10 and the other one would have to be a 9. So the chances of these being both 12s or a 12 and a 10 are very high, which gives me information about how to place over here. So what I could do is I'm going to save my 3rd card to place over here because I know that I can place a 3rd card over here. And what I'm going to do, actually, you know what, maybe the risk factor here is if I'm looking at this right now, if I don't place a high number here, if somebody else does have a 9 or an 8, they might put it there just to go, you know what, we're not going to worry about it. I'm going to place my 11 over here face down, knowing that I can even place 2 11s here and it'll still be completely safe because it'll still be less than this. Back to this player over here, they do have that 10, and sure enough, they're going to go ahead and place that 10 over there face down confidently. At this point, this first player is like, it's got to be a 10. It's got to be 12, 12, 10. There's no way it's 12. There's no way people are putting 9s there that fast. So back to this player over here. They're going to choose to place their number down. They have a nice middle range. They have a 4 over here. They know that this person confidently put down a number. It could be anything, but it's got to be a 1, 2, or 3. It's not a 5. If there's only 1 card there, it's not going to be a 5. We're going to place our 4 over here. Maybe it's the wrong move. Players might have 2s and 3s. We don't know, but looking at our hand, we can place a 5 over here. We can work our way up around the curve over here. Back to my turn over here. I'm once again going to place an 11 over here because, again, there's no way that I'm beating what's over there. That has to be a 12, 12, and a 10. At worst, it's a 12, 10, and a 9. And even then, my double 11, 12, 10, and 9 is going to be, what's the math in that? 19, 31. My double 11 is only 22, which means I can even add my 10 and it'll still only get to 32, which is the math on the other one, right? 12, 10 and 9, yeah, 32. So anyways, back to this player over here. They look at theirs. They have a 1. The 1 can probably go almost anywhere, so we'll save that till later. We'll place a 7 over here because we don't know what these are, but probably 7 seems like a safe bet. Unfortunately, that ruins my 5. But the question is, I could put this 2 cards here. I'm going to place my 8 over here and see what I can do. We'll see what happens. Back to my turn. I am going to place this over here because 3 cards, 3 cards. Unfortunately, this player doesn't know exactly where to place this. They can figure out a 1's not going to make a big difference over here. They're going to place it over here because just in case this is lower than here. This, by the way, if I didn't know exactly what was happening, this is right now where things would mess up. Oh, I forgot one thing. Well, let me tell you why things would mess up, and then I'll remember the one thing. The reason this would mess up is because right now, with this last number in play, I would have placed this here, but now I'm almost inclined to place this here, because if there's 2 numbers here, this is probably the safer bet than putting this here and eclipsing that. But the good news is I forgot that we actually are allowed to play cards face up. So I'm going to have placed this card face up to show that, yes, I placed a number here, but it's a low number, which will give this player the confidence to place their number here. I've only used one of my 3 face ups, but let's see how it resolves. Again, keeping in mind, I know all the cards, but I tried playing it as if I would. So over here, we have a 1. Shocking. We have a 4. We're doing well. So far, we're going in ascending order. We have a 7. We are great so far. We have a 5, 8, and 1. That's going to bring us to 14, which is, fine. We should be safe. Let's see what we got over here. We have 11, 11, 10. That's 32. 32, as long as this does not be 32, we are fine. We have 24, and we have 24 plus 10 is 34. Even I was worried it might be lower. I mean, I wasn't because I actually know what's been played. But a 12, 12, and 10 means that's going to be 34, which means we won this level. That is how you play a level of Take Time. Now, I'll walk you through the first envelope, the first 4 chapters of here, so you get a sense of some of the progression you'll have. But honestly, a lot of the rules will get trippier and trippier as you go through the full sets of the envelopes. So we'll start with these, and maybe I'll give you an example of something to come, but we'll not focus too heavily on that. So we have envelope 1 over here, envelope 2. Envelope 2 is going to be a slight acceleration, so again, you have that dial in play. This time round, you're still working your way around the dial, but then you have things like 8 to 12 over here. This has to be between 8 and 12, and we have to have 3 cards, but it's not at the end. So the 3 cards are not at the end this time. Then we have this one over here, which is going to give you a 2. This one, sorry, these 2 over here, your first card played has to be over here. Your second card played has to be over there. So you have to play in there. You can still play multiple cards, but the first and second plays have to be to these 2 spots. And between here, we have to have between 20 and 30, which gives us some degree of information and knowledge, but also we have to hit those numbers. And then this last one in this set over here, this one is going to give you a few new things. So we have this one, which is placing a white and a black card. And this one is no segment can be closer to 6 than this segment. So it's not exactly 6. You don't have to do exactly 6, but no segment can be closer to 6 than this segment. So for example, if you placed a 4 over here and a 7 over here, 7 is closer to 6. But if you place a 5 over here and an 8 over here, this is the closest to 6. So it doesn't force you into an exact number, because if you had an exact number, sometimes you can actually not get those. But this segment has to be the closest to the total value of 6. That's going to be an example of what you'll see in the first envelopes, but then you go to subsequent envelopes. I don't want to spoil too many things for you. What I'll say is you'll start getting into more and more ways to break the rules, to move things that you otherwise couldn't, to do different things with the numbers than you would normally. The rules don't just come down to various ways to things you have to do, like 20 to 30 or 2 blacks and a white. It's more stuff than that. It'll actually change up the rules on you as you go through the progression of envelopes. So it's the same puzzle. If you don't like one, you probably won't like the rest of them. But if you do like one, there is a nice sense of escalation, as it gives you not just more challenging things to do, but more ways to bend the rules or break the core structure in order to achieve that core goal. Which means it's time for my review of what I like, don't like, and see others not liking, starting off with what I like. I like this style of game. This is very much a style of game. If you don't like games like this, I don't know if this is going to change your mind. This is not a game where you know what your players are going to do. This is a game where you have to get in sync as to what you can do. Now, I didn't say this, by the way, but there's no communication when you start playing. There is communication until you look at your cards. So until you look at your cards, you can be like, okay, well, if we have high numbers over here, and if you have a 1 and place that over there, we have a degree of communication you can engage with until the cards are picked up and looked at. Once the cards are picked up and looked at, there is no talking, there's no communicating outside of playing the occasional cards face up. Additionally, if you lose a level, you're allowed to add these little gears, giving you extra number of cards that you can peek at, which, by the way, is a mechanic that personally I hate, but I'm glad it exists for those who love it. For myself, I'm only going to use the core number of looks that you get. Losing and therefore the game getting easier means that when I finally do pass it, I don't feel a sense of accomplishment. I feel a sense of my hand was progressively more and more held as I went. But I'm glad that it exists for those who want that. But overall, it's a game about getting in sync. It's a game about trying to be on the same wavelength and learning through your mistakes how to be on that wavelength. Oh, we played a 1 over there, but the example I gave you, when you play a 1 face down, because what difference will it make? Well, the difference it makes is that other players don't know it's a 1, and therefore they'll make decisions thinking it's likely statistically a higher number. And you learn those ins and outs. You learn those nuances with the players in your group. And so similar to games like The Mind, it's about losing and failing, but then getting in sync with the other players and kind of learning what makes sense together as you slowly get in sync. The progression of levels is nice. I don't think it's necessarily essential. The core game, starting off at the very first level, the core game is the kind of system that I enjoy. The progression is nice because otherwise you have like a whole lot of envelopes for a game you could just play on repeat. So having a sense of increasing challenges gives you more and more ways to continue escalating through the game while feeling like there's some degree of variety, some degree of something to surmount, to get over. In terms of things I don't like about the game, I'll say that one of the things is that aspect where games like this, I tend to have a drive to get to the point where I finish it, and then once I do, I'm like, well, now I've done it. I guess I could do it with other players, with a new group. I guess maybe 3 years from now I can come back with my current group and try it again. But once you have that sense of having done it all, because there's a degree of escalation, because there's a degree of working your way there, I do find that you lose some of that as you get there. I'll also say that in general, as much as this game about being in sync with other players, sometimes it just is what it is. Sometimes you play well, you do the right judgment calls, but ultimately you can't know what's going on. You are making judgment calls based on what statistically is likely, and sometimes you're stuck, sometimes you don't have a good play, sometimes you are left with that 1 at the end, and the other players played all their face-up cards, and so you have to play a 1 face down, and it's going to screw with the other players, and you know that, and you're trying to figure out the way to mitigate that damage, but there's not a way to mitigate that damage. Sometimes you just have, because of the nature of the obfuscated information present in the game, it just means that when you do it, it can feel incredibly satisfying, and when you don't, it's not necessarily because you played wrong, it just sometimes is what it is due to the nature of this kind of game. As far as I can see, others not liking, there's only one real thing, which is, if you don't like hidden communication games, I don't think this is for you. There's nothing specific about this one that I think will turn you off relative to other hidden communication games, but it is a hidden communication game. It's a game where it's about being in sync. It's almost, one could argue, similar to, well, The Mind, it's almost an experience more of a game. You have some basic rules, you're playing some cards to get to ascending order, but it's not like something, it's not a game where you can strategically math it out. It's a game all about vibes. It's a game all about feeling in the moment and doing so together with other players and working your way towards that sense of understanding. Oh, the last thing I'll say that I don't like, I forgot, I touched upon this earlier, I don't love the 2-player mode. The 2-player, like this game plays like, 2 to 4 players, and it's nice that it has that. I've played a whole bunch of games 2 players, but I think I would only do that as a, hey, I want to show you this game so you can play with our group later. I don't think I like the 2-player mode quite as much. You basically have a hand of 4 cards, you look at them, once you've played your first 2 cards, you pick up the other 2 that were set aside. That way you still have 12 cards in play, but it's hiding the information as you go. I don't think it's bad, I just don't see a reason why I'd ever play that over the 3 or 4 player experience, which I think feels more natural. I give them points for making it 2-player accessible, and it still is fun. I just prefer 3-player as a mode. As far as final thoughts on Take Time, I like this. I had a chance to play this at Origins a while ago. I enjoyed it there. I've played this a whole bunch since getting it. It is fast. It's easy to play. It's one of those games you can just pull out and play through a whole envelope at once and call it a filler. Like a full envelope is still a filler game, all things considered. It's one of those games that's about getting in sync with the other players, which makes it a good filler game for 3 to 4 players. Still is fun at 2, just more fun with 3 or 4. It's just overall... also, the production is great as well. As far as the look, has a nice feel, nice visuals to the game. I don't think you need anything, but the card art's great for what it's doing. Has that nice little mystical look to it. Overall, it's a solid time. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. As far as other game recommendations, first of all, I'm going to tell you to definitely check out The Mind. The Mind is very much a game about being in sync with other players that I think this accomplishes that very much. And then similarly, if you want another game about this kind of experience, check out, oh my gosh, Time to Panic. Time to Panic from Ivy Studios, which has a similar degree of trying to play things in a right order with a lot more manipulation going on. In any case, then, until next time, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.